To clone out or not to clone out? That's what I'm going to talk about as we go and photograph a waterfall. Why not come with me? Well, good morning, or I should say good afternoon. It's just turned into the afternoon, and yeah, we're going the wrong way. Right, well, we're back in the Lake District following our little jaunt up to Scotland. I actually still have a video from Scotland to put up. I haven't edited the pictures or the video yet. But what I realised was that the next video I put up, which will be this one, will be my 200th video. So I thought I'd maybe try and just do one that acknowledges that. So that's what we're doing today. And where have we come to? Well, we've come to a place I have actually been to before, but not photographed before. It's called Colwith Force, which is obviously a waterfall. And it's on the coast, not the coast to coast, the Cumbria Way, which I did back in, it'd be 2021, I think I did the Cumbria Way, and I'll put up a link, I'll put up a link, get it right way? No, I'll put a link up there to show the relevant bit of the Cumbria Way when I came through here. So yeah, although there was the waterfall, I needed to get on and get the Cumbria Way done, so I didn't have a huge amount of time, so I didn't actually stop and photograph it, because I seem to remember it's quite a steep track down to the waterfall, and it would have taken quite a chunk of time, so I decided on that occasion not to do it. So I saw an image of this and I thought, wow, where's that? I've never seen that. We'll go and we'll do that. So we'll go and photograph it this time. But yeah, when I looked where it was, I thought, yeah, I've come down here. So that's what the plan is. Sorry, I've got distracted. There was a couple going past with a dog that lost its ball. And it's not the most straightforward of paths, this, but yeah. But you'll have seen from the intro, I want to talk about how much I personally would manipulate pictures and my thought on it, be that cloning things out or possibly cloning things in, etc. So as we get there, we're going to talk about, once we get to the waterfall, we'll talk about that, as well as trying to get some nice images of this waterfall. It's quite a nice morning, a bit chilly, but hopefully as the day goes on it'll warm up. I mean, I'm not really cold, whether I put my other puffer jacket on. I've just got a fleece on at the moment. I might end up doing that, because once we get to the falls we're not going to be doing much moving about. But right, anyway, I'll stop jibber-jabbing there and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, Well, you'll see I've made it to the waterfall, Colwith Force, and yeah, it's quite impressive. As I say, I have seen it before but not photographed it before. As you can see, there's the falls there, and then the river, which I'm not quite sure. The maps I've got with me don't seem to say what the river is, so I'll try and find out and put it up on the video. The river going there, and you've got this little, I'm not quite sure what it is, little hut, whether it's to do with getting water out of the river or what, I don't know. And you can see there's a staircase there, although that one it's got a blocked off to stop people using it, and the wooden one to the side looks very dodgy. But I was hoping to be able to get down to the river. And I've seen from the B-roll I was following the river and then got to a point where basically there was just a sheer drop into the water and you couldn't get round, so I came back up. But if we look here, directly down from where I'm stood, it's just a sheer, well, not quite a sheer drop down. If I was feeling brave, I could maybe get down. I have been wandering about trying to see if there's different ways. Yeah, as you can see there, and you can see, come up here slightly where my bag is. I did look at, and just bear with me while I get across this, it's very uneven ground and potentially very slippy, so I don't want to end up slipping and falling while I'm trying to talk to you and film. So the film is just going for a bit of a burden at the moment, but yeah, there is this sort of track down there to that tree, and possibly, but I think I'm just going to try and come up with compositions from this sort of height and that. So yeah, so we'll have a wander around, see what we can come up with, and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, we found the waterfall. It's very steep to get down, and I don't think it's spectacular enough to warrant going down. So I don't think we're going to take any pictures. Would have been nice, because waterfalls are not as dependent on the light and the weather. Right, well, I've come down a bit. I can't move about enough. I'm just going to come back up here where I feel a bit more stable. Right, so we've got the waterfall there, we've got the tripod there. We've just come round this rock when we were talking before. We were up on the top of there. Now, whether you could get further down, I don't know. I'm not going to risk it today. But what I wanted to talk about was the manipulation of images and what I think is appropriate, or what I would do and what I wouldn't do. And so we've got the waterfall there. So if I zoom in, I don't know how well you can see, but from this tree here there's twigs coming out, and then from the tree over there there's branches coming out as well. So do we just take our image from wherever's easiest and then think about cloning those out because they're getting in the way? Or what I've done is I've come down here. So if we turn the video camera on so you can see through, sorry, the stills camera on so you can still see through there, you'll see that by coming over this way we've missed the twigs at this side, and the branches there are beyond the actual waterfall itself. And obviously if we go further around they're going to start impinging. I mean, if we if we zoom out, we'll see there's all these twigs and that, because we've zoomed in, and that we're going to avoid them. So one way of manipulating is where you actually put the camera. If there's a bit of rubbish or whatever, or something you don't like, you just move your perspective so you miss that out. And that has been, everybody does that. That's been going on from time immemorial. So yeah, so what I've done there is move across, not too far, so I get the branches on the left hand side protruding into the waterfall, but far enough that if I come back here, we haven't got the branches of this tree here, which down from this angle, which would have been a lot easier taking the image from here, and now protruding into where I don't really want them protruding. And the disadvantage was of staying up there, you had all sorts of things in the way. So that is one way, in a sense, of manipulating the image, choosing your angle, your perspective, to try and miss out things that you don't want. And that, as I say, has always been done. People always move the camera, get the angle just exactly as they want. And that doesn't involve any post-processing of cloning out or whatever. And just to say, we'll talk about it a bit more later, but I tend to be, particularly for landscape, see it almost as a documentary type photography, where I am capturing an image of what is there. I don't want to change it, however much it might, some of it might not look nice. That is what there. So yeah, so that's the first image. Whatever is the best one of it, we've taken it at various shutter speeds. We'll put that up and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, I've come back up onto the top of the rock where I feel less precarious, and I've taken an image, if I stand over the top of the camera, something like that, but I've done it in a portrait mode. So yeah, I mean, on here it would be nice if you could see the waterfalls without any branches and that, but there are just so many that to try and clone them out or to try and avoid them was just too difficult. I mean, obviously if you come here when all the trees are in leaf, that's going to be very, very different. So yeah, I think that one won't look too bad. So if it, again, I've taken it at various shutter speeds, whichever one is best we'll put up on the video, and we'll have a look around to see if we can come up with any other compositions, and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well I've now come up with the composition, partly because I think it's quite pleasant, but specifically to talk about this, how should we, if we at all, manipulate the image. So you can see in front of you the sort of general image that I'm taking, and we'll record it through the stills camera as well. Just to remind you that the stills camera does show a slightly narrower perspective. It's 16 by 9 as opposed to 6 by 4, which is the actual that. But you can see we've got this little cabin now, and I was just coming in our end, the pipe that comes out at the bottom, if we just see the pipe there, I'm not quite sure whether there's water coming out of there, so whether it's some sort of like hydro to make some electricity, I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. But what some people wouldn't like is these steps here. So obviously we've got those in the image, and I could have altered the zoom or whatever to try and block them out. I think they actually go. I quite like them because they go with the cabin, but some people might not like them and would want to get rid of them. So in a sense, we've got, as far as I can see it, we've got three options with this image. My option, which I prefer, is we just leave them there. I quite like them. They're part of the scene. They're part of, it's almost, you'd say, although we're in a very nice part of the country, it is an industrial type scene, and they are part of that. Another alternative is that I crop the image, possibly into a square crop, and we crop them out. So we're not cloning them out, we're just reducing the crop, so we'd get a square image and possibly there, and then you wouldn't see them. And then the final option, which I will do when I get at home, is to clone the steps out, to completely remove them. Now this is something that I don't often do, so it may take, when you see it might not be the best of cloning out, we'll see. So we'll do that. And this is just an image to talk through this sort of thing. We'll just turn the stills camera off there now, and yeah, so what I will do, I will put up three images. The image, my preferred image with the steps in. I might crop it slightly down to because obviously it's taken at 6 before, I might crop it to a 5 before, just to make it slightly more snug. And then I will do another one with a crop, possibly a square crop, and totally crop out the steps so they're not seen in the scene. And then I will do, and how well I will achieve this I'm not quite sure, but then I will do where I clone out the steps, just totally remove them. So, and then I'll put them up, and it would be very useful if people would comment on their views and which they prefer, what they would have done in the circumstances. So yeah, in general my view is I don't clone out, apart from if I'd missed something, there was rubbish that I could have gone and removed before I took the image, I would quite happily clone that out. Obviously dust spots and possibly things that are not permanent, that are there. So possibly if you've got a scene and you don't want people in and you've got somebody going across, they're not part of the scene, they just happen to be there, so I would quite happily clone that out, or possibly cars and that. But I have had judges say, well, if it had been me, I'd have cloned that rock out. Well, the rock was part of the scene, it was in the image. So as I say, I'm very much from a, particularly with landscape, a documentary type of view. So that's where I come on cloning, that I will only clone things out in general that are are temporary, that are not really part of the scene, be that, as I say, rubbish, people, cars, possibly down there's a fallen tree, because you could argue that's not permanent, so we could maybe clone that out. But yeah, so I'll put those 3 images up, see what you think, please comment, and we'll go along and try and find some more images. We're probably going to go around slightly, see what we can find. So yeah, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, as we start to walk back, I just wanted to talk about, we talked about cloning out. Talk about cloning in or putting things in an image. And to me, for a landscape image, that was something it's highly, highly unlikely I would ever consider that. And maybe if I was doing a composite with an artistic bent, I would think about that. But I mean, these days there are so many options of how to change an image, and one that springs to mind is sky replacement, that you don't quite like the sky, so you put a different sky in it. And to my way of thinking, I mean, please disagree with me and comment on this, that is something I personally wouldn't do, unless it was, and I have done it in one sense where I took an image of the mountains as it was starting to get dark, so there was still some clarity in the mountains, and then kept the tripod in the same place for some considerable time. It might have been well over an hour, and then took another image of the night sky to get the astro, and then blended the two together. And to me, that, obviously I've done it, and I think that's acceptable. Maybe it's something you should say that you've done, but certainly if you're taking a totally unrelated sky and replacing it for the one that was there that was a bit boring, for me that's a no-no. And if you do that sort of thing, it should be made plain on the image, because to me a landscape image or even a cityscape is aiming to show what is there, to show people what they can see. I mean, all images are doctored a little bit, because we'll alter the colours and possibly enhance the colours, but to me, to put something in that isn't there is not unacceptable, and if it's for your own use and it makes a nice picture, that's fine, but it should be made clear to people looking at it that this was yeah, that this was a sky replacement or this was whatever, so that they would know that. Yeah, I mean, and cloning people in to say, oh, I was there when he wasn't there, that just doesn't float my boat, shall we say. So yeah, that's my views on cloning in and sky replacement. That's, to me, if you're doing anything like that, particularly on a landscape or something where you're portraying that this is the site, this is what you can see, you should say that I have altered it, that the sky wasn't real or whatever. So, and particularly if you've used IA to generate something, you certainly should definitely say that. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on cloning in, having talked about cloning out. So yeah, we'll see you very, very shortly. Right, we're certainly on our way back to the van now, and thank you for anybody who's watched it this far. And hopefully this was a bit different from my 200th video, talking about an aspect of photography that I wouldn't normally cover, and yet still being out and taking hopefully nice images. So yeah, where are we going next? I haven't a clue is the simple answer. I need to work out when I can get out and some places to go and get some images. And I'd like to remind people, if you've enjoyed this video and you haven't done so yet, please click the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. It does greatly help the channel and much appreciated. And what is even more appreciated is the comments. I really do appreciate people who comment. And yeah, this is a subject we've covered that people have different views. Please do comment on your views on what you think. You may disagree, you may agree with me. I mean, that to a certain extent doesn't matter. We've all got our own thoughts, and we've all got to do what we think is right. This sort of thing is very subjective. There's no definite yes or no to these sort of things. So yeah, please comment on that, and if you've particularly enjoyed it and there's other aspects of photography you'd like to me cover in other videos. Occasionally I do videos like this. There's the one that did very well when I talked about shutter speed blending. So yeah, if there's anything you'd like me to try and cover, please put up a comment and I will consider it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on any of these views. I'm just a photographer trying to do his best. I mean, I'd like to try and make some money out of a photographer, but that doesn't seem to happen at the moment. So yeah, I think we've probably waffled enough now, and yeah, we'll see you on the next video.